Hello.
Hi.
Welcome back.
How are you?
We did it, folks. She's back. If you enjoyed the fever dream that was last week, let me know. But we're back to our regularly scheduled programming.
I forgot that you did one without me.
I did too until I looked to your over here and you were there, and I was like, oh yeah, I did one last week.
Yeah, because you left my microphone on the table.
I left it on the table. I left it recording. I had to do a lot of audio cleanup.
You left it on the whole time.
Well, it's plugged in. I should have just unplugged it, but it was live. It was a hot mic. And so when I got into the recording or to the editing software, it was just the echo was way worse than it normally is.
That is so funny.
It was fine, but I immediately hit cut and forgot everything that I said.
That's
like
so funny.
I was in a difference. Well,
I kind of do that too. Like I always rewatch the podcast when it comes out on Monday, and I'm like, oh yeah, we did talk about that. Like I haven't forgotten it, but I don't.
It's not top of mind.
Yeah, it's like if you ask me, oh, what did you do the podcast about?
Yeah.
I would have to think about it.
I always found that funny because I watch a lot of video podcasts and I watch a lot of YouTubers like the Game Grumps and, people that batch record a lot of stuff. And then when it comes out, there's some distance. And I've always been like, you guys talked about this or you said this, and they have no recollection of it.
Yeah.
And then once we start, like you could ask me what, like the first podcast in August, like what that was about, I would have no idea. No idea. So, it just like, while you're in it, you're paying attention, but it just goes
right
out the window.
I mean, I feel like it's almost like how you don't remember every conversation that you've ever had with like a friend or a family member.
Yeah, but for whatever reason, you feel like you should remember this more, or at least from an outside perspective.
It's
but then
you're doing this thing.
Right.
And it honestly just feels like a conversation most
of
the time.
Being on, like trying to be entertaining, makes me less likely to remember it because I'm just like more willing to. Like I say a lot of stuff that I don't really think twice about. Whereas like in a normal conversation with people, I usually am a little bit more thoughtful. That's why if you watch a lot of these podcasts, you'll notice me like say something, think about it for a second and be like, well, I don't mean all things.
Right.
Like I do that all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's just because I'm like kind of going with the character.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you have an icebreaker today?
Yeah. It's just a random question.
Hit me.
So I want to know what is your favorite piece of clothing that you've ever owned?
Oh man, that's a great question.
In your whole life.
That's a great question.
I can go first if you want to.
Yeah, go.
So when I was a kid, like a toddler kid, like 3 or 4 years old, mom and dad will back me up on how much I loved this one nightgown that I had.
Oh, nice.
It was from the Disney store.
Oh, boy.
It was an Esmeralda nightgown from The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
I was about to say, not a standard princess.
Yes, and I loved it. I wore it all the time. It had a little sash on it that was like attached, and it had a little tassel on the end.
And you slept in it?
And I also had a tambourine that also had a sash on it. So when I would wear the Esmeralda nightgown, I had a tambourine, and I would tap the tambourine, and I would dance around, and I loved it. I probably wore that nightgown like at least twice a week.
This was late 90s. That would not fly today.
Why?
The sash, it's cultural appropriation.
Yeah, probably not. But I really loved Esmeralda.
That's wild.
I thought she was so beautiful. I had her nightgown.
You could pull 1,000 girls and boys, I guess, but who their favorite princess was?
She wasn't my favorite princess.
So
no.
what?
I loved the nightgown. It wasn't, I don't know.
It wasn't her, it was the nightgown.
Belle is my favorite princess.
Right. That's what I thought. I was like, what?
When I met Belle, I was speechless.
Okay.
There's video.
It's not really her, right? It's a character.
Yes,
it's an actor.
Shut up. Shut up.
Okay.
Come on.
I'm sorry to burst your bubble.
I appreciate the Hunchback of Notre Dame. I think it's a great movie. It's not my favorite Disney. It's not in my top 5 favorite Disney movies.
Here's the thing. It doesn't have to be. It is, in my mind, and I think without a doubt, the best music that Disney has ever made.
It's up there.
Don't come at me with Frozen. Don't come at me with it.
No,
the music in the
great.
Hunchback of Notre Dame, the movie's not. It's mid-tier. It's fine.
Yeah,
that music, dude.
It's very good.
And Tarzan is close,
and that nightgown, amazing.
Right. Tarzan is the closest one I would get.
I think that is probably one of the top pieces of clothing from my entire life.
I have a denim jacket that has like wool
the
cuffs.
Sherpa jacket?
For whatever reason, the Sherpa jacket. For whatever reason, when I'm wearing that, I feel powerful. I just like, I think maybe it's the association with I can only wear it when it's really, really cold.
Yeah.
I've worn it to a lot of like bonfires and campfires. And so the memories ingrained in that jacket are very solid. You know, I'd put listen, I smoke cigarettes, okay, but I don't do it anymore. But you'd put that jacket on after a winter season and you'd look in the front pocket and there'd be some blue American Spirits or some Camel Turkish Silvers. You'd be like, oh yeah, we're back. You just feel so good, you know? So, and I found $50 in there one time.
What? This is a great jacket.
I just leave stuff in the pockets.
Yeah.
And then I don't wear it for long periods of time.
Right, you're like, oh, I made $50.
Yeah, we don't live in a place where this is a pretty heavy jacket. So I don't wear it often. But when I do wear it, it's always good memory. So I think that's probably it. I really like the Goonies t-shirt that I've worn into the ground. I've worn that on this podcast thousands of times.
Yeah.
So much so that you had to get me a different Goonies t-shirt.
Yeah.
Because I wore the other one to death.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Clothing, like if you had asked me maybe like 5 years ago, I would have said nothing because at that point clothes were just like utilitarian for me. But I think as you get older, you know, I say that all the time, but as you get older, things start to have a little bit more meaning to them. I'm still 9 times out of 10, I'm still chuck it, throw that thing away. We don't need it. It's taking up space. But there's a couple items that I think I'll probably hold on to for the rest of my life just because of the sentimentality.
Yeah. Wow.
You know?
That's a big change for you.
My dad has t-shirts from like 25 years ago, like when I was born.
Yeah.
And you see in the home videos, he's wearing these t-shirts. He's still wearing them.
Yeah.
And some of that is out of just convenience and laziness. But I also think like
they're special.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. I get that.
So did you have a good trip?
I did.
What did you do?
You
went on a girls'
trip.
weekend?
I went on a girls' weekend. We just rented a lake house together, and we just hung out. We played some fun, we did some fun activities.
Yeah.
I won't call them games, but one that we did that was super fun was we all submitted like 2 or 3 secrets or like fun facts, or like funny childhood story,
that they wouldn't know.
That people wouldn't know.
Wouldn't know. Yeah.
And they were randomized. One of our friends, she put in her own secrets, but she knew all of ours, so she wasn't guessing. But she made a PowerPoint with everybody's secret, and then we had to guess who we thought it was. And some of them were very surprising.
I bet.
Yeah. So that was super fun.
It's crazy because we've known a lot of these people for a really long time, and
like 10 years.
others we've known for a decently long period of time.
Yeah.
But there's still just so much stuff about people that you just don't know.
I think that's such a fantastic thing, is that you could know somebody. I mean, even you and I have known each other for 12, 13 years plus.
Yeah, and
we still learn things about
Esmeralda.
Yeah, you never knew that.
That's the first time I knew that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we lived, but what's crazy is we lived most of our lives together, but we still have, early childhood stuff and
yeah, there's still little things.
Just because we were together, when we were dating, I don't think we were as open in communication as we became. The first couple of years, obviously you're holding things back. You're not, we're 16, 17 years old. We're not dumping our entire life's goals and missions on each other.
Yeah.
So as we grew in our relationship, I think that was the cool part. It was because in popular media, it's always like, oh, well, you've been with this person forever. There's no secrets. It's like, not really. No matter what, even how close we are, you're not living inside of the other person's head.
Right.
So there's always going to be stuff that comes up. I think that's really interesting.
But yeah, that was really fun. We went out to dinner.
Did the whole thing.
Yeah, it was just girls' weekend. And then there was the only morning that I was there, actually. The lake was really beautiful. It was 50 degrees out.
It was great weather.
Mist coming up off the lake. Man. I drank my tea out in the rocking chair on the back porch. It was really awesome.
That sounds like exactly up your alley.
Yeah.
That's one of my... I have an appreciation for waking up early that I did not have when I was a younger man. But now as I've gotten older, it's just I
enjoy it.
There's this feeling of just everything else hasn't started yet.
It's just so calm.
And it's kind of just you and the world waking up at the same time.
Yeah.
I really like that.
There were little cardinals flying around. Yeah. It was beautiful.
Meanwhile, I had a fantastic weekend myself because I found a breakfast burrito place that, let me tell you, I don't know why we never thought of this, or we collectively as humanity. They put the tater tots or hash browns in the burrito.
That sounds good.
So I got a burrito delivered, huge. I'm talking this big.
Oh my gosh.
Hash browns, 2 servings of eggs, bacon, chorizo, green onions, peppers. regular onions too.
Nice.
Holy moly, dude. I lost my mind. It was
sounds really good.
It was so good. So good.
Yeah.
And I got a bagel sandwich on top of that too.
Oh my gosh.
Your boy is in a little bit of a binging episode
You're
right
in
now.
a little bit of a bulk right now.
Well, so the thing, like, I recognized this. We'll talk about this a little bit. My maintenance phase went pretty decent,
Yeah, it did.
but I also recognized, like, the phase of training that I'm in right now. I feel better when I'm more fueled. Now, this is a little bit of an excuse because there's a way for me to pare this back, and I am going to do that.
Yeah.
But what happened was I'm training in the gym 5 days a week, which is what I don't normally do that. Usually I'm 4 days a week, and then I have an extra couple of days for cardio.
Yeah.
But because of this, I wanted to try this program. These 5 days are crushing me.
Yeah.
Like when I say I'm exhausted, I'm
Yeah.
exhausted.
Yeah.
So I just don't have any other, like I've been missing my steps, and I never do that. That's how tired I am. I just feel like I can't peel myself off the couch.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I've looked at this as a way to really kind of dial in what my perfect training looks like.
Yeah.
Because I really do like the benefits that I get from cardio training, from doing a little bit of conditioning.
Yeah.
But I just physically can't do it with the energy. So I think 4 days is like my sweet spot. 4 days of powerlifting training and then 2 days of conditioning and adding on a little bit more conditioning on the upper body days.
Nice.
That way I can spread the energy balance out a little bit more.
Nice.
So the lesson in that is in the past, if I had experienced something like this, I would have really gotten down on myself about like, oh my God, you're overeating, you're ruining all of your progress. But this just shows my growth. Now I'm able to say, okay, there's a couple things that I'd like to do better, that I'm going to do better when I start a new program. I've got 1 week left on this program, but I haven't ruined anything, right? Like I've learned how to better set myself up for the next bout, to have that next level of training be successful.
Yeah.
So I'm not very good at patting myself on the back. So I'm just going to take this moment to say I haven't completely fallen off the wagon, which is what I would have done. God knows.
Proud of you.
So there you go.
Yeah.
I'm also, yesterday was my 3-year anniversary of being alcohol free.
That's right. Congratulations.
So there's a couple big wins going on right now.
Well, and honestly, we have had some great food lately, which we didn't have food other than chicken.
We've got
for like a long time.
The next iteration of me on like a more dialed in diet is we've got to find like 4 or 5 meals that we can rotate through.
Yeah.
Because I became so attached to the chicken and rice because it was so controllable.
Yeah.
And I could manipulate it better. But I know you don't want to be eating that every night. There's moments that I don't want to be eating that every night.
I mean, it was okay. I wasn't eating that every night.
Right. You were switching things up a little bit. But
it's been fun. Like we had a great Mexican meal. You had your burrito.
Yeah.
We had
barbecue last night was
which
very
was
good.
Great.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, this is awesome.
So this is the thing. There's balance to be found because I think I am still in a place nutritionally where I'm hitting all the goals that I want to. I would say I would give myself a B- for the past month and a half.
Yeah.
Not my best work. I've gained probably 10 pounds from where I want to be in terms of competition, but I don't have a competition on the books, and I know what I need to do to get that weight back under control.
10 pounds for you is very easy to lose.
Very easy. That's like, honestly, 10 pounds in like 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Just because of how much my weight fluctuates. But that's the approach that needs to be taken, because the more that I do this myself and the more that I coach people through it, this all or nothing mentality is just so counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Because you are going to mess up.
Yeah.
No human being is perfect.
Right.
You
right.
Especially with food, when you've got so many things working against you chemically, the people that are manufacturing your food, they know what they're doing. They know how powerful these high palatable fast food, et cetera, whatever you want to call them, they know how strong these are.
Yeah.
And their job is to keep making money, and they keep making money if you buy it. So don't assume that your willpower is stronger than the Frito-Lay's company. They've got it figured out. They've got chemical engineers working for them.
They really are better than you.
And there's freedom in that.
Yeah.
Because then you can say, okay, how do I strategize against that? Rather than just relying on my own willpower, which is not going to do anything for you, maybe a couple times.
Yeah.
But
on the whole, you're going to lose that battle.
I'm going to I have it planned. I wrote out of the outline, but I'm making a video on practical weight loss tips that are not just like, don't eat at 8 p.m. You know what I mean? Like actually,
which is such a stupid rule.
Well,
honestly.
stuff that is a little bit more than surface deep.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of like smaller tricks that I've utilized because when I think of myself, I'm horrendous at dieting. I'm really, really, really bad at it, but I have been very, very successful at it.
Yeah.
So how did I do it? I think the people that say, oh, I just, maybe my body's just supposed to be at this weight or I have a hard time dieting. I have some tips for that. So I'm going to, probably in the next couple of weeks, I'm making what's the word I'm looking for? A program review for this program that I've been on probably next week. And I filmed a video today about how to choose strength programs effectively so that you don't fall into program ADD and hopping and doing all,
Interesting.
So yeah, I just, the content has been good.
Yeah.
Like my ideas, I think, but I haven't really had one that I've been super, super excited about. Except for the Sam.
I was going to say the Sam video you were excited about, and it did well.
I'm afraid of doing a video that I really want to do because I think it's going to flop, but I want to do, and I think I've talked about this before, I want to do a video on the connection between anime and fitness.
I don't think I haven't heard you talk.
Really, it's massive. I mean, it's everywhere. Like people are using, old videos of old anime and like putting motivational quotes over it or like it's just all over. It's all over the social media scene. So I've written that whole video. I wrote that video in March.
Oh, wow.
And I just got like in my own head about like, oh, it's not going to do well. And but you just got to put stuff out.
I think if it's something that you're excited about, you should make it just for fun.
Yeah. I think I'm going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. You had a question?
I did have a question for you.
Go for it.
I'm trying to think of like how to word this, but we talk a lot about not being too like specific or like in one camp too strongly.
In terms of
like fitness or nutrition.
Okay, yeah.
But there's a lot of different diets out there. Yeah. And I want to know which one you think is the best between like
if I had to choose?
And I'm just going to list some off the intermittent fasting, intuitive eating, keto, Whole30, plant-based, the carnivore diet where people are like eating butter, being vegan.
That's keto too.
Yeah, it's like an extreme version of keto, I guess.
Okay, so
the lion diet.
I've got to do some caveats here.
Yeah, sure.
Because I think for an individual, any of those diets can work if they fit into your individual lifestyle. Now, some of them are more lax in terms of micronutrition, so they get a red X from me from the jump.
Which ones?
Carnivore.
Yeah.
Specifically, I don't love keto in the long term. I know some people really, really, really do well with it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to throw numbers that I don't know. The majority of people are off of keto within a year, and then they're right back to where they were. But I do think keto, let's do this bottom up.
Okay.
In an individual, one human being, one person, I could not give them a diet that I could say, this will work for you.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
There's too many individual differences, right? So I would never say, put you in this camp. What I would probably do, and this is the way I coach, is we would start off with, and if it fits your macros, understanding of macro and micronutrition, what calories are for probably the first 3 to 6 months. And then I would try to move you towards intuitive eating. If you were a lifestyle client, or maybe a looser version of tracking where you're just tracking protein and you're just keeping an eye out on your calories and you're within like a 500 calorie range day to day, I think that's a healthier way to go for an individual who's just trying to live their lifestyle. For an athlete, I think tracking year round pays a lot of dividends for an athlete as long as you can keep your mental in check. Because athletes are humans too, but we have a little external motivation, especially weight class sports, that allow us to approach formal tracking with a little bit less of like, oh my God, I'm tilting towards eating disorder.
Yeah.
Because you're tracking for a specific outcome rather than for a body.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With bodybuilders, it's all up in the air. But so then as you get bigger, as you get to wider general populations, I think it's very clear that these wild fad diets do not work.
Yeah.
Carnivore, off the table. Completely.
It seems really like there are some people who swear by it. I think it seems insane.
On an individual basis, there are people that really, really, really do well with it. But if we're talking about a recommendation for a general group of people, carnivore is near the bottom of that list. It just is.
Yeah.
Because again, the food environment that you live in plays a huge role. So people don't really think about, we live in America. If you live in America, your food environment is incredibly carbohydrate based. That's just the truth. You can argue whether that has merits or not, but that's the fact. We live in a carbohydrate based country.
Yeah.
I think a lot of European countries are the same way. A lot of Asian countries are the same way. So it's hard to go against the grain. I was having a conversation with one of the trainers at the gym that I work at, and she was like, I had a friend who came from Peru, and she signed up with a bodybuilding coach, and the first thing the bodybuilding coach said, no more rice.
I bet she quit.
She was like, I don't know how to make food outside of that. Rice is so based in their culture with all of their meals.
For so much of the world.
Right.
Yeah.
So this like carnivore just, I don't think sets people up for success on a general level. Again, don't come at me in the comments about, well, I did carnivore and I lost 100 pounds and I look like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
That's awesome.
Perfect. I'm really happy for you as an individual. But this extrapolation of
everybody
it worked for me, it's got to work for everybody else.
Yeah.
That's not how science works.
Right.
And if we're trying to get to the bottom of why this country is overwhelmingly overweight, then we've got to throw the individual out the window in most cases.
Yeah.
I had a conversation. This is a little bit of a tangent, but in my comments on one of my Instagram reels where I was doing a leg exercise tier list.
Okay.
Guy came in and said, leg press is garbage. It's an ego lifting weight. Nobody ever does it right. And I said, well, the execution of the exercise done by a couple people does not preclude the exercise from being adequate and in some cases incredible for leg hypertrophy.
Yeah, if you're doing it right, then
that's what I'm saying.
Like the fact that some people do it wrong doesn't make it bad.
I just step out of yourself for a second. You know what I mean? It's really hard to do.
Yeah.
We are the main character in our own story.
Yeah.
And what works for us, we assume is going to work for everybody else.
Yeah.
But that's where the zealotry comes from.
Yeah.
That's where this, oh my God, I did this and it worked so well for me. You've got to do this. You've got to do this. You can't do this.
That was like another guy on that same video was like, you're wrong. Running is great.
Oh, yeah.
For building your leg muscles.
Well,
and
that guy was crazy.
What are you talking about? Like,
He was talking about sprinting, right? So first and foremost, I was talking about distance running, and I didn't say distance running. So
yeah.
Fair play to you, but he was talking about sprinting, building the type 1 muscle fibers, which it does.
Okay,
10-second sprints, sure.
Yeah, sure.
You will never, ever find a bodybuilding program, which is what the video was about, that bases its leg hypertrophy around sprinting.
I think to say that you were doing a tier list.
Exactly.
To rank sprinting.
And I put it in trash.
Above
any of
deadlifting.
Above anything.
Or squats is insane.
I truly...
is it going to be good for your muscles?
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Is it better at building large muscles in your legs than any weight? No, absolutely not. You'd be crazy to think that.
I didn't want to keep the conversation going because clearly this dude believes one thing.
That's fine.
I said, you know what, man, that's totally fine.
Your legs look great. Good for you.
You got to talk about the interference effect at a certain point because the energy systems utilized when sprinting may be counterintuitive to the energy that you need to build muscle. You may be, because of how hard it is to sprint, pushing yourself into a caloric deficit, which is counterintuitive outside of training.
That's great.
So there's a lot of reasons. Like when I was doing the tier list, I was like, I'm looking for the most efficient and effective exercises. That means I put squats below leg press and hack squat. And I love the squat. The squat's my favorite exercise. Yeah. But I did that because the squat is more systemically taxing than the leg press or the hack squat. So if you're talking just about hypertrophy in the quadriceps, those two I think are better.
Interesting.
But nobody thinks that way.
Yeah.
We're so tribal.
This is my favorite exercise, so it's
this
the best.
Worked for me. This has to work for everybody else. So let's get back to nutrition. Generally, I think your best bet is take a little bit of time to educate yourself about calories and macronutrients. Because I think if you can get a grasp on what that is, then you can start to realize, okay, I don't have to remove a full food group from my diet, or I don't have to add in a bunch of red meat if I don't like red meat. But you can see that it's levers. Yeah. It's little push and pulls. Yeah. It's okay, if I have a lot of carbohydrates and I'm getting a lot of calories from that, then maybe I can't have as much carbohydrates from fat or vice versa or whatever. And everybody responds to their nutrition in a different way. If I have a lot of fat, if I have more than 30% of my daily caloric intake in fat, I'm up all night because my stomach is exploding. Like, I just can't do it. But I do want to be at 30% fat because I want my hormones to be healthy.
Yeah.
So I learned that through educating myself and talking to other nutritionists, reading a lot. If you are looking for a book, I've talked about it 1,000 times on this channel. Where is it? I don't think I have it down there.
I don't know.
Flexible Dieting. Here it is. If you are looking for a 101 style book on how to plan a diet for yourself and also how to weed through all of the BS that's on social media, I cannot recommend this book enough. It's Flexible Dieting. It's by Alan Aragon. I don't know how you say his last name. He's fantastic. He's one of the best researchers we have out there. Read this book.
And you made a video on it.
I made a whole video about it.
And he endorsed it.
He did endorse it.
It was great.
So shout out to you, Alan. You're doing the Lord's work with trying to educate the masses. But I just think, like, generally we have to get better at cutting through what's real and what isn't real.
So you're pretty much saying none of the above.
You can't. I have come to the realization that putting someone in a box does not work.
Yeah.
In nutrition specifically.
Not for long term.
I could put you on keto and you may lose 40 pounds. But in 3 months, when you're tired of looking at that stick of butter wrapped in bacon and you go back to where you were, if you haven't built the caloric deficit type habits through keto, which is possible. There are people that have successfully moved from a ketogenic diet to a more omnivorous diet, but have still taken a lot of what they've learned in the ketogenic diet in terms of calorie deficit or energy maintenance and have had great success with that. So I'm not coming for the keto warriors. I think it can be very effective, but I just think it's needlessly restrictive for a general population.
Yeah.
How much more diplomatic can I be? Yeah. And I know there's still going to be people pissed at me.
Whatever.
I know, but I'm just like, it's not constructive.
Yeah.
Unless we're willing to, if you are a keto fan and you come to this, just trust me in good faith that I'm making this argument. Because at the end of the day, my goal is to give you the tools to accomplish the goals that you want to, so you can live a healthier, happier life. And maybe look the way you want to look. That's secondary. For me, it's more about the health, right? So you have to just give people a little bit of grace and let them find their own way, But that doesn't sell.
Right.
So we're always going to have this.
Yeah.
These Instagram influencers who are making up problems that only they have the answers to.
Only they have the green powder for.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's so true. Well, and I don't think it's wrong to have like maybe a philosophy. One of those diets has like a general philosophy guiding what you choose, but not being fully in the box.
I guess my diet philosophy is high protein.
Yeah.
I usually tilt towards the higher ends of the protein recommendations.
Yeah, I kind of lean plant-based.
Yeah, you do. Why?
I don't know. I like it. That's why.
Just because you like it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Look at this. Look at this.
I don't really know.
You like it. That's it.
I like it. But you know what else I like sometimes?
Chicken.
Going to Chick-fil-A and getting that pimento cheese sandwich, which I ate without telling you.
You betrayed
and it was really
me. You betrayed me. I cannot believe you did that. Yeah, I found out about that last night and I'm still hurt.
I'm really sorry.
It was good, wasn't it?
It was really good.
Oh, yeah.
And you can have it spicy too.
No chance.
Yeah.
See,
she asked me that and I didn't know.
Let me tell you.
And I panicked.
You would not
I got
it.
regular.
You got the regular. No, you wouldn't
like it. Well, I just
spicy.
was not expecting a question at all. So I had to process the question.
That's always
I was always gonna pick regular, but I had to like, and you can get it grilled. And
why would anybody get it grilled?
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
Like if you're getting it grilled, go somewhere else.
Go home and put pimento cheese on
a grilled chicken breast. I've never understood that.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's like the vegan cheese argument. You know what I always say? It's like if you wanted to eat cheese so bad, you shouldn't have gone vegan.
Just eat the cheese.
Just eat the cheese. Like,
yeah.
You know,
I get that.
I'm coming for everybody.
You are. Yeah.
I'm not really though. I respect anybody's decision to make the dietary choice that they want to.
But yeah, I feel like everybody maybe leans more one way. Or like maybe somebody like does Whole30 and really loves it, and then like maybe they do start eating rice again.
I don't think Whole30 is sustainable in the slightest. No, it's coming from someone who's done it twice.
Yeah. I haven't done it.
That's brutal. Mm-hmm. Dude, you might as well be eating dirt. You remember that chia seed pudding my mom?
Oh. It wasn't even pudding. It was a chia seed banana.
But she blended it up to make it and called it pudding. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll have some. It was horrendous. Dude.
Yeah.
It looked like slop. It literally looked and tasted like slop.
Mashed bananas don't look great.
Why do they turn gray?
I don't know.
They're not gray, but when you mash them, they turn gray.
I make enough banana bread to know that.
That's if any we got any food scientists in the chat, please.
I would be very interested.
Why does that happen?
Yeah.
They're like yellowish.
Yeah. I mean, like even because like with banana bread, you're supposed to have old bananas.
They've got like the black little seeds in them.
Oh, you're probably right.
So that's probably what it is.
You're probably right.
Wow. Because it does.
Yeah. No, you're. Wow. Yeah, good job. Good job.
I'm smart, man.
You are smart.
Damn.
Yeah.
Critical thinking. What were we talking about?
Just the diet. So really to box yourself in is never going to be sustainable. But to prefer kind of generally higher protein or
the light in this video is going to be off.
I've been staring into the sun.
Have you? Oh my God, it's coming right off of the wall.
It's reflecting off of the house.
We're recording later than we normally do because I was watching the football game. Yeah. So we're getting blasted. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's okay. Oh, I can see again. But yeah, I was interested to see if there was one that maybe you leaned towards kind of like how we were just saying you lean high protein. So maybe you lean kind of keto with the high pro or lean kind of carnivore.
No, I'm trying to think about like my general recommendations for people when they just ask me like, hey, what should I be eating? Mm-hmm. I said I lean high protein because nobody's eating enough protein. So that's the first thing I usually tell people is, what's your protein intake? Like, how much protein are you eating? And 9 times out of 10, they're like, what's protein? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know.
That's a conversation I've had with a lot of people myself.
Nobody knows what freaking protein is. And then, or they'll say like, oh, well, I eat 2 spoonfuls of peanut butter every night. I'm like, goodness gracious. That's like 36 grams of fat and like 12 grams of protein. That's not real.
I actually saw a dietitian like doing a little reel one time and she was like, everybody, please stop thinking of peanut butter as a protein. Peanut butter is a fat.
It's a fat.
That happens to have a little protein in it.
That's great. Lean on the peanut butter for fats because you do need fats for hormone health.
Sure.
And for immunity. But don't think that you're eating a spoonful of peanut butter and you're like, I hit my protein goal for the day.
It's like 200 calories for 5 grams of protein.
Right. So I don't know. That's the first thing is like, okay, you're probably not eating enough protein. Mm-hmm. Number 2 is, do you have a general idea of what you're consuming on a day-to-day basis? I guess mindful eating is if you want to call that a diet, mindfully eating, understanding what you are putting in your body from a given meal to meal, not eating in front of the TV, which I am hella guilty of, because I'm not a great mindful eater. That's why I have to rigidly track.
Yeah.
So I track beforehand and then I can turn my brain off. Mm-hmm. But if I've got an open bag of chips in front of me, you bet your sweet behind I'm eating that whole bag, right? So I know that I'm not a very mindful eater. So I have to take steps to allow myself to mindlessly eat in a more controlled structure. Mm-hmm. But if you are a very mindful person and you can get yourself to a point of mindful eating, I think that's fantastic. Mm-hmm. Understanding, okay, in this meal, how much protein did I have? And it doesn't have to be formal. You don't have to write it down, but like you start to understand.
Yeah, like think about it.
Right.
Be mindful.
So that would be that's my diet philosophy but you have to do the work up front.
Yeah.
You have to know what a calorie is. You have to know what protein, carbs, and fat is. I got great news for you. There's over like 1,000 videos on this app, Instagram. Now you got to be careful, because sometimes you're going to run into the carnivore MD. And let me tell you what, punch that dude right in the face.
He's crazy.
All these people that are taking their shirts off and walking around grocery stores, I just stop doing that. And if you're listening to these people, don't. 9 times out of 10, they're trying to sell you something.
I know.
It's just not worth it.
I like watching their videos just to see what crazy stuff they'll say next.
I mean, the other problem is they never understand the economics of food. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because and I hate this word, but they're so privileged
They are.
that they can afford to spend $19 on a head of lettuce at Erewhon or freaking Whole Foods, right? The general population cannot do that.
No.
You know what I mean? So they'll go in there and they'll rip to shreds perfectly fine foods.
I saw one even on toothpaste.
Right.
And it was like, Colgate has Blue 20 in it, so you should use this one. And it was even
$19.
like, oh, you might think this organic toothpaste is good, but think again, it has xanthan gum.
Oh, dude.
So you should, and
they hate the xanthan gum.
Oh my God. And like,
They hate
you're
it.
not even swallowing the toothpaste. You're
Right.
spitting it into the sink.
Right.
Who cares? And it's like, I'm going to spend $2.50
Right.
on a tube of Colgate.
Right.
I'm not going to spend
I'm not going to lose any sleep over it.
$12
Right.
on a tube of toothpaste. That is insane.
I'm not going to lose any sleep over it.
No.
It's like these people, like my favorite, the big one that's going around right now is the fruit washing trend or the dirty dozen or whatever. With all these people talking about fruit being poisonous because it's got pesticides on it. You know how much, like 90% of the American population does not get a single serving of fruit in their daily life.
Oh my goodness.
Are you crazy? Like consistently.
Right. We should be worried more about getting people
And we're
to eat
worried
fruit.
about people not eating a little.
Forget about the pesticides. They're not even eating the fruit.
But if you wash the fruit, you're good.
Yeah, it's okay.
You're totally fine. There was a reel I saw, another dietitian. She put on a chart of like how much in a single serving a child would have to eat to extract poisonous levels of pesticide. 2,000 nectarines.
That is something that people don't understand. The dose makes the poison.
This is the
The
thing.
dose makes the poison. You can die from drinking too much water too quickly. Water can be poisonous. Arsenic, which would
It's
you
in
call
apples.
would you call arsenic a poison?
Yeah.
It's in
apples.
rice.
Yeah.
We eat rice every day.
Right.
Are we going to die from arsenic poisoning?
2,000 nectarines, dude, before they would get to a point where they would then have to go to the hospital. This is not a fatal dose.
Right.
This is just treatment.
It's just you might have a stomach ache.
Holy cow.
You know what else would give you a stomach ache?
2,000
Eating
nectarines.
2,000
You would die from eating the 2,000 nectarines.
You would probably overdose on vitamin C.
I guarantee you would die from the volume of nectarines.
The fiber.
Before you would die from the pesticides that are in the. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And
like, are we saying you should drink pesticides?
No.
Please don't do that.
clearly,
But eat fruit. The pesticides are,
you just
wash
have
your
to.
fruit.
You have to ask
Wash your
yourself.
fruit.
You have to ask yourself: was this a problem for me before I looked on Instagram and realized it was a problem?
Mm-hmm.
If the answer is no, then you're probably pretty good.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there has to be this level of critical thinking where you're like, well, I've eaten fruit for 26 years of my life and I've never had an adverse effect from eating fruit. But now this guy in my 27th year of life is telling me that if I eat fruit, I'm going to get pesticide poisoning. So now I'm not going to eat fruit at all.
Yeah.
It's like, where is our brain?
Right. It's, again, like we always say, it's somewhere in the middle.
Right.
Eat some fruit. You should wash it.
Wash it. Yeah.
Please wash
I'm
your
not
fruit.
telling you not to wash it.
Please wash it. It has dirt on it and some pesticide residue,
Sure.
maybe a bug. Wash it. Do you need to soak it in
It's
baking
baking
soda
soda?
water for 2 hours?
No.
If
you want to.
If you really want to,
Go
I'm
for
not
it.
going to tell you to stop.
Right.
But don't let that stop you from buying some grapes.
Right. Or some berries.
Yeah.
I mean, they're good for you.
Rinse them off.
They're good for you.
Eat
I
'em.
just feel like we're missing the forest for the trees. When in a nation that doesn't eat fruit to begin with,
Yeah.
don't even talk to me about vegetables. We're fear mongering people about poison.
Yeah. You could spend every minute of your life doing everything to avoid every pesticide, every negative
Life's too
thing,
short, man.
everything in all of your life, your cell phone, everything.
Yeah, dude.
You could never do it.
Radiation's coming off of this bad boy. We've got it to our ear. We've got it to our ball sack. So
Yeah. So worry about the things you want to worry about, but don't let it keep you up.
it
at
has
night.
become part of the social contract. Some of these things are part of the social contract of how to live in this modern society. We're not going to have privacy. Sorry, that's out the window. We bargained that away when we wanted computers in our pockets. For better or worse, that doesn't exist
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
But that is part of the social contract.
Yeah.
You can go live out off of the grid and not have one of these if you're worried about your privacy. Sure. Sometimes I think about doing that. But to live a modern life, there are going to be some concessions that you have to
Right.
make to the man.
Well, and if you want to have grapes all year round,
make them.
They're going to be GMO and they're going to have some pesticides on them that you need to wash off. And you're just going to have to live. Point. You're just going to have to live.
You notice how there's no more seasons for stuff anymore? Ask your grandparents about seasons for fruit because we weren't getting them from Mexico. We weren't getting them from Venezuela.
Strawberries all year round? Well, no, honey. There was a 4-week period. That's why strawberry festivals are a thing, because everybody was so freaking excited to eat a strawberry finally.
Nobody uses their brain.
Right.
It's just...
Right. So if you want that, there's going to be, CO2 emissions from transporting them around the world. They're going to be GMO and they're going to have pesticides.
You can make a choice personally
to grow your own garden.
To grow your own garden, to not partake in the GMO produced. That's totally fine. I'm not going to make a moral judgment on you.
In fact, I think
that's great.
It's great.
Fantastic.
It's admirable. Good for you. I wish I had the skills to do that, honestly.
I will never disparage anybody for that.
No,
but I will disparage the people who are sitting there and saying, don't eat this for $10 more, and it goes right into my pocket. Mm-hmm. That's insanity.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to go above and beyond and have a homestead and have your own cow and grow your own strawberries,
we've talked about it.
I wish that I was doing that. I really do.
If we were more handy and didn't live in the hellhole of America.
Yeah. No, I would love to do that.
I'm telling you.
But I'm not going to let anybody make me feel bad that I'm not doing it.
Idaho.
At the same time.
Idaho is the next up and comer.
Let's go, baby. I love a potato.
Let's just get everybody and let's get on out of there. Because the only reason we wouldn't is because of family. You want to be close to the family and all that. But what's stopping them?
Yeah.
Head on over.
All right, Mom, Dad.
We're moving.
Jonah's mom, Jonah's dad.
Moving to Idaho.
Our siblings. Come on.
We can call it there. We can do a shorter episode today. I mean, I had a question, but the light is... Apparently, we're losing the light. It's 4. It's 4 p.m. I don't know what's going on.
Well, it's fall and winter now, so...
Thank God. But we haven't even fallen back yet.
No.
That's my favorite night of the year.
Me too.
That is tied with Christmas Eve. I forgot. Those two are like right here. 1 and 1A. You get that extra hour of sleep. I'm telling you feel like Superman the next day.
I need it
it's
too.
It's beautiful.
I need it. I'm ready.
I was going to try and wake up with you to go to work today.
Yeah.
I woke up 6:30. I felt like death. So you left. I was like, nope, I'm going back to bed. I slept for another 2 hours.
You slept for 2 more hours?
I woke up at 8:30.
Good for you.
And I still feel tired.
Yeah. I'm exhausted.
Dude, we need it. Fall back, baby.
Fall back.
I just do, I like the dark a little bit more. Is that bad? I just like it darker. I like to be able to go to bed when I'm supposed to go to bed and there not be freaking sun outside.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Abolish daylight savings time.
Oh, yeah.
That's my hot take.
That's a big one. Well, I think most people want to do that. I don't think that's a hot take anymore. The hot take is, which one do we stay on?
The fall back one.
Fall back one. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But some people want to stay on the spring forward one.
No,
that's dumb.
No.
Sun doesn't come up until like 7:30.
I know.
That's stupid.
It's terrible. There's enough daylight hours in the summertime that it'll be light in the morning and the evening if we don't spring forward.
You are 100% correct.
We don't need it to be light out until 8:30.
I know.
Because think about all the little kids who are getting put to bed and who are giving their parents a hard time because Mom, it's still light out, but your bedtime's 7:30, but it's still light out. That's so annoying.
Yeah. All right, folks.
Don't spring forward.
Thank
everyone.
you. Thank you for don't just collectively don't spring forward.
We're all gonna fall back.
If the 30 of you that watch this podcast don't spring forward, we'll have a movement.
We're gonna defy expectations and all live our lives an hour different from everybody around us.
Don't they do that in Arizona?
Yes. Arizona does not change.
How do they get away with that?
Forget Idaho. We're moving to Arizona.
How do they get away with that?
There's scorpions. I don't want to move there.
I mean, not all over the place. It's not like there's a plague of scorpions.
If scorpions are on the table, I'm not moving.
I'm sure there's scorpions in Idaho.
Well, then I'm not going there either.
Here.
No, there's not.
Yes, I've killed 2 of them in the garage.
No, you have not.
Yes, I have.
Shut the front door.
I have.
You're lying. I don't appreciate that.
Babe, I promise you, I have killed 2 of them in the garage.
You are beeping me.
No, I promise.
I'm really upset.
They're small. They're like this big.
I'm very upset right now. I'm sorry, everyone, that I've ended on a sour note.
I don't know. Maybe they were like the water bug that looks like a scorpion. I don't know. I didn't get a good look at it. I crushed it and swept it out of the thing.
I'm really upset now.
Oh, jeez.
I'm sorry. That really bummed me out.
When has a scorpion ever inconvenienced your life?
Right now.
That's not true. They're not. You're thinking about them.
I'm gonna think about it for the rest of the day.
No. Okay, I was lying. I didn't kill 2 scorpions.
I know
in the garage.
You're not lying.
I was lying. I was doing the big fib. to get a rise out of you.
Well, you did.
Well, there you go. There's 2 extra minutes of podcast for you on this fine Monday morning. Thank you so much for watching.
Yeah.
Welcome Sarah back in the comments if you'd like to.
I'm back.
This podcast is on the straight and narrow when she's here, so let's keep her around. Couple new videos coming out, so subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate all the support.
Yep.
We blew past the 500 subscriber goal.
Yeah, we did.
That we set for this year. We're going for 6 now.
Yeah.
So thank you all so much for making that happen. If you've got ideas or questions, please leave them in the comments. We would love to answer your questions on the podcast. Share, like, subscribe, all that jazz. Have a great rest of your week. You got any words to leave the people?
Kill every scorpion you see.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're integral to the food chain.
No, they're not.
Okay, kill every scorpion you see.
Kill them all.
Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Goodbye.